Okay, guys, technology is like not on my side. Let me just let me see. Looking well, thank you, Sagui. Although I look so crusty. Oh my goodness. Orientation is locked. Rotate device back. Okay. Was trying to act clever here. Okay. Alright, there you go. Hey guys, hi. Sagui, I can't add you on my live. I can't put screen on auto rotate. Okay, let me try to do that. It's okay. Okay, not a problem. I wanted to add you though. Ah, man. I don't like this. I don't like this. I don't like this. Other than that, how are you guys? So, yeah, yesterday we were talking about the Wills Week. As we all know by now, I believe we should be knowing that this week is the Wills Week, meaning you can go and draft your will for free, guys, free of charge. However, it's not all law firms that does the wills for free, so you will have to check the LPC website for the participating law firms that will be offering free services. So we were discussing this with Sagui yesterday. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel, guys, please go to my YouTube channel, like my videos and subscribe. So yes, it's National Wills Week. Hi everyone that have just joined. It's National Wills Week. We will be talking all things wills tonight. I'm not sure if you can hear me. Can somebody confirm if they can hear my audio? Hi, Matiriso on YouTube. You're welcome. Yes. So, well, what's the importance of drafting a will, guys? A will is important for number one. In the event that you die, leaving your assets, you don't want your estate being distributed or bequeathed to the people that you don't want them to benefit, right? And some, maybe they are not deserving of your assets or your estate, so you don't want that to happen, which is the reason why people draft wills. We draft wills to ensure that the right people receive, or the right people inherit from our estate or our assets, right? So normally when you go visit an attorney or whoever, estate administrator, when you go visit them to draft a will, they will of course require you to have your ID document with you, and perhaps a witness. However, it's not mandatory for you to bring your witnesses with you. For the witness part, you can ask the staff to assist you with attesting to your will. Okay, why am I talking about witnesses in a will? Of course, a will is a document that you draft and state your wishes. So any document, any contract or legal binding document will have to be witnessed and attested by two competent witnesses. So for a will, it must also be witnessed by two competent witnesses, right? Hence you will have to have a witness present during the drafting of the will. So they must be present. That is a requirement that makes a will valid. They will sign, the testator will have to sign all the pages of the will, including the last page, And again, the testator is allowed to choose who is going to administer their will. We call that person an executor. So the executor is the person who has been appointed by the testator, which is the person making the will. They will appoint an executor to administer the will upon the testator's death. So that person will have to make sure that upon the deceased's death, upon the testator's death, they will distribute the asset in accordance to the will, the wishes of the testator, to the right people. And maybe I should also add a point that this is for educational purposes, guys. We are not here to give legal advices. I'm not here to give legal advice. However, I will open this for question. You can put your questions on under the comment section, and I will try to maybe be checking on the comments whilst I'm busy doing this discussion. Okay, so yeah, I spoke about an executor being appointed by a testator to distribute and making sure that they distribute the assets in accordance to the testator's wishes, right? So, but what does the testator get in return? Of course, no, I mean the executor, guys, pardon me. The executor, what does the executor get in return of doing all that? Because it's also work, right? Having to administer a deceased estate, it's not easy. It's a process. You will go up and down doing all that. So thank you for the rose, legal podcast essay. Thank you for the rose. Everyone is welcome. Yeah, so as I was saying, you will go up and down, going to report it to the master of the high court. So it's a process, which means there should be some sort of, well, I wouldn't say compensation per se, but more of a gratitude. So they get what we call 5% of the value of the estate. Okay, yeah, they get a 5% of that. It goes to the testator upon distribution. So how do we distribute the estate upon the testator's death? First things first, when the testator dies, there should be reporting to be done, right? When a person die in South Africa, leaving assets, leaving estates, they will have to report the estate to the master of the high court. That is mandatory in terms of the administration of the Deceased Act. Each and every estate must be reported to the master of the high court within the location wherein the deceased died. So if the testator died in Bloemfontein, then they will go to the master of the high court in Bloemfontein. Or if the testator was residing and died in Bloemfontein, then they'll go report it there. So each and every province, I'm not sure about that, have a master's office, master of the high court. So it's not really a court, it's just it's an office. So we just call it the master of the high court because it was kind of appointed during the process of the drafting of the high court things and the act and all that. Yeah, anyway, I'm not gonna go deeper into that, but it's the master of the high court. You go report the estate there. Once you report the estate, they will obviously require you to bring documents. And if you have a will, it makes it a little bit easier for you to get things done quickly, as opposed to not having a will. And I'm gonna tell you the consequences of not having a will. Right? Let's start with having a will. Now, say you there is a will. it will become easier for your beneficiaries to report the estate and get everything done and distributed, right? So there will be a will required, your ID, if there are minor children, their birth certificates, for the beneficiaries. I'm talking about the beneficiaries, right? If there are any minor children, they'll also require the birth certificates, their IDs, that the title deeds, if there is any property in the estate, anything that counts as an asset, right? A bank statement, if the deceased had left some sort of money there. So, and policies, if there are any other policies, proof of that must be attached, and then you take it to the master of the High Court. And then it's kind of a process, right? Hence you need to appoint someone that is qualified for that. If you have someone that has passed on and they left a will, appointing someone that is qualified in the field of estate administration is very important, because there's a process that needs to be done there. After a person has reported the estate, there has to be advertising or notices that must be published on the government gazette as well as the local newspapers. So you see, it's not as easy as it sounds, like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go to the master of the High Court and do this and nah. It's actually a process. So there are advertising publishings there to be done, because you have to notify the creditors to say, Mr. So and so, Mrs. So and so passed on. He or she, or has whoever has an interest in this estate can bring their application, or they can bring forth their whatever interest that they have. If maybe the creditor is owed so and so, then they will see it on the notice, right, on the newspaper or the government gazette, on the local newspaper or the government gazette. They can be able to see that, and therefore would then contact whoever has been appointed as the executor to say, no, look, this person is actually owing me. So was owing me, because by that time they would have passed on. So the executor now steps in the shoes of the deceased. So would lodge your claim there with the executor, so that when they make the distribution, they should also consider you as the creditor. Now, after the process of publishing and everything is done, there is also what you call a liquidation and distribution account that has to be drafted. With that, it's, if you've done accounting, it's more or less something like your ledgers, but it's not really the ledgers. It just shows the value of the assets, the value of the liabilities, the value of the expenses, policies. Yeah, and after that has been after all that has been taken into account, then it will show what is the total amount available for distribution. Now, with the will, when we take the will into consideration, the will say who should get what, right? So it makes it even more easier to draft that L&D account, because it will say, oh, Malebu gets this and this, and Sagui gets this and this. So it's easier. You don't have to crack your head and decide who should get what. And that is the benefits of having a will, so that your beneficiaries don't have to stress, right? And also, the person, the deceased, will rest in peace knowing that, ah man, I'm sorted. Yeah, no, not that you think when you dead, but I'm just saying, Okay, now, speaking about the consequences of not having a will, dying without a will, what happens if somebody dies without a will? A very complex situation right there. So if a person dies without leaving a will, the estate is distributed in accordance to what we call the Intestate Succession Act. Now, the Intestate Succession Act, basically, it's where now we as attorneys sit down and crack our heads, because we have to see who are the descendants, who are like the lawful people that we should we should distribute this estate to. Yeah, which causes disputes in families, because maybe someone has built or renovated the house, your siblings renovated or your uncle renovated. Now the owner of the house has passed on. What do we do with the renovations? The person who would have contributed to the renovations would assume it's their house automatically. So why not, But it doesn't work like that. All right, so let's get into the process of intestate succession when a person dies without leaving a will. The process is more or less similar, however, with much a complex situation when it has to do with distribution. First things, you still report the estate when a person died without leaving a will. You'll have to report the estate to the Master of the High Court as well. Now, if the estate is less than 250,000 rand, you'll only be given what we call a letter of authority. If the estate is more than 250,000 rand, there must be an executor there appointed and nominated by all the possible beneficiaries, right? So who gets what? That's the question, right? That we want to know, who gets what in an event that a person dies without leaving a will. So Sagui gave an example yesterday of say I am married to Mr. A, and we have 3 children, right? Maybe my mother and uncles and all, yeah, those siblings and stuff. So Mr. A passes on, which is my husband. What happens to Mr. A's estate when Mr. A dies without leaving a will? So intestate succession says the descendants, right? The bloodline, the descendants are the first priority. They are the ones that are supposed to inherit first, not the sibling. If there is a spouse that is surviving the disease, then the estate will if the estate is more than 250,000 rand, then I as the wife will get a great 250,000 rand or a greater of that, which is a child's portion. So whichever is greater. So if the estate is maybe 500,000 rand, let's just give that example. Thank you, Sagui. Legal podcast estate essay for the rose and the comment. Yes. So what happens to that if the estate is less than, let's say it's 500k? It's me, remember, it's me, the wife, and the children, the 3 children, meaning we are 4 beneficiaries. The intestate succession says we don't look at the uncles, we don't even consider the grandparents or whoever. If the wife or the spouse is surviving the disease, is alive, right? And there's also the children. We first look at the spouse. If the spouse is alive, then the greater portion, which is between 250,000 rand or a child's portion. How do we calculate a child's portion? So as I said in my example, we are 4 beneficiaries. It's me, the spouse, the wife, and 3 children, meaning 4. Then if an estate is 500k, 6,000 rand, we divide that by 4. It gives us, let me make my calculations. I don't know, 125 or something. I don't know. Let's just say it gives us 125,000 rand. 500 divided by 4. My math is not mathing, and I'm not about to do calculations in my head, right? So I'm just gonna come up with a random answer. Let's say it gives us 125k, right? And then you look at what's the greater amount. Obviously 250k is greater than the 125k. In that instance, the wife will inherit what? A greater portion, which is the 250k. Now we are remaining with the other 250k, which will have to be divided equally to those 3 children. Each child will get their own portion because we divide that by 3, right? So that's how it works. We don't say because I'm married to Mr. A, then I get everything and I don't look at the children. The children, hey, if they're alive, they also, it's their father and they should therefore inherit. But the siblings, Mr. A's siblings, will get nothing, 0, because Mr. A was married to Malebo. And that's how intestate succession is. Hence, you see there are conflicts in most families when a person dies without leaving a will. Now the siblings are looking at the estate like, yeah, oh, I'm right. My maths is good. 125, I'm right. Okay. So yeah, hence you see there's all these conflicts because they are wondering how. Johnny, how does this one get a greater portion? Why are we not inheriting? Because no, you are the siblings. You were not married to this person. I was staying with this person for maybe years, and there are children that needs to survive. There are children that needs to go to school to do 1, 2, 3, and sometimes, guys. Anyway, let me not even go further into what family history, but anyway, yeah, that's how it goes. So say Mr. A leaves I'm married to Mr. A, still same example, but okay, I'm married to Mr. A, there are no children there. Mr. A passes on, leaving a value of 1 million rand in the estate. What happens to the estate? Their siblings, their grandparents, their uncles, parents as well. What happens to the estate? The entire estate will come to me as the wife. That's how it goes. The siblings, the uncles, the grandparents will get 0 because Mr. A is survived by a spouse. And yeah, as I say, guys, if you are new, you have just tuned in, welcome. This is Deceased Estate Administration by your one and only legal guru. Yeah, so we're discussing estates and the distribution of estate in an event that somebody dies without leaving a will, which we see in most families wherein there's a lot of conflicts happening there. So as I was saying in my example, if I'm married to Mr. A passes leaving 1 million and there is no minor children, or there are no children in the estate at all, but there was in the household, sorry, but there is survived by his siblings, his grandparents, his parents. What happens then? The wife gets everything. The wife will get everything if there are no children at all. The others will not get it. Yeah, and yeah, unfortunately, that's how it goes. Now, what happens if there is maybe Mr. A is survived by Mr. A? Hi Mohawi, I can see you. You joined. Say Mr. A is married to me. Mr. A dies, leaving the the parents. Okay, should I say parents? Yeah, leaving the parents. alone. There's no spouse, there's no whoever, but they are uncles and cousins. So the parents will receive everything. They will receive everything in equal share. So there we don't do the calculations of 250K or a child's pension, child's portion. There is pension in my head, so everything I think of is pension, and I'm gonna get there to the issue of pension. Guys, if you have any questions, please don't be afraid to post it. Just post your question on the comments. I will make sure I answer everything. Let me see. Oh my goodness, why can't I have the interaction thingy? Guys, I hate this. Okay, anyway, it's okay. You can just post your questions under the comments. I will make sure that I I answer everything. Thank you, Sagui. I'll make sure that I answer everything. So it's deceased estate administration. We were discussing intestate succession, what happens in an event that a person dies without leaving a will. Now, we have mentioned all this and these things and distribution, right? How the estate will go if a person dies without leaving a will. Okay, there's another scenario that I mentioned wherein maybe the siblings have made renovations. Let's say I'm married to Mr. A. The siblings made renovations, but I don't think, why would they make in our property? But let's say they borrowed Mr. A money. Mr. A made renovations to our property. Mr. A survived by a spouse only. What happens in that instance? Okay, in an instance that someone is owed in the estate, then they will have to bring forth their claim during the distribution of the estate, wherein the estate is published or publicized on the, not the estate per se, but the death is published on the government gazette and the local newspaper. That's when they will see that, okay, this person has died, so that means it's our time to go and make a claim. Upon distributing the estate, the executor would have been appointed, would then have to ensure that all the creditors are paid, and out of the remaining money then will distribute the estate accordingly. Okay, yeah, and then the rest of the procedure is still the same, wherein there's an L&D, liquidation and distribution account. It has to be accepted by a master. After that, yeah, then that's just that. Is the pension part of the estate distribution? That's where I'm going. Hi Vasu on YouTube. Hi, we're welcome. So is the pension part of the estate distribution? No, a big no. And I'll tell you why. When it comes to the issue of pension benefits, it's a different story altogether. Pensions cannot be, hand up and say hi. Hi Vasu. So pensions are not part of distribution of estate, number one, because there is a law that governs pension law, which is the Pension Funds Act. So that governs the distribution of what should we do with the pension. What are you reading? I'm not reading. So what I'm doing now, it's just a discussion of pensions and distribution of estate and why. Okay, anyway, let me just continue here on my channel, on TikTok. Yeah, so pensions do not form part of wills. because there is an altogether a law that deals separately with pensions. The Pension Funds Act has the law that has the whole procedure of how to distribute, or whom to where do we allocate the pension. All right, you would remember when you first start a job or when you join a pension fund, you sign a nomination form. So that nomination form also is considered during distribution or allocation of pension benefits upon the deceased death. It's considered. However, the Pension Funds Act basically says that Section 37C says that the trustees have the discretion to allocate the pension benefit of the deceased to the identified financial dependents. So who are the financial dependents? Dependents are basically, it also defines a dependent as someone who is who was financially maintained by that deceased, right? I'm not saying it exactly as it says, I'm just paraphrasing, but if you have it, or you can just go on Google and just check what does dependent mean in terms of the Pension Funds Act. So anyone that the deceased was maintaining, they would qualify as the dependent. This can be grandparents, parents, siblings, children, grandchildren, cousins, yeah, whoever that qualifies as a dependent in terms of the Pension Funds Act would be allocated, would be considered rather for a portion of the pension benefits. And also considering the rules of the fund, all the funds have rules, right? All funds have rules. The rules are read in conjunction with the Pension Funds Act. And if it's a government pensions, then the rules of the government pension employees is read in conjunction with the General Pensions Act and the Government Employees Pension Law. They also have a separate. So now in an event of the person passing, then obviously the family would report that, okay, there is so and so, Mr. X was employed at so and so, and you are holding, we believe you are holding, the fund is holding pensions on behalf of this person. How do we go about claiming 1, 2, 3 and that? Yeah. So obviously there's an application form you fill them, they will perhaps send for the person to complete and then go about the process of claiming the pension. But then you being married to so and so does not mean that you automatically qualify to receive 50% pension benefit of that person. It doesn't work like that. Pensions are a separate thing when it comes to the deceased estate. They are counted as separate, and unless if you were married to that person and there was a divorce process there, you have a decree of divorce, and the decree of divorce says you are entitled to 50% pension interest, then you can claim the 50% pension interest and so forth. So, but when it comes to the issue of pension benefit, wherein the people the parties were married in community of property, does not mean that that person will have to get 50% pension. The fund or the trustees of the funds consider financial dependency. So we look at financial dependency, whether the person was financially dependent on the deceased. The issue of the nomination form, yes, they will consider the nomination form. However, it's not the absolute, it's not the final discretion. If in terms of the nomination form, Mr. X has allocated a certain portion of the benefit to maybe all the pension benefits to his mother, then it does not mean that the mother would get everything. They have to, the trustees or the board would have to consider any other person that has brought a claim for the pension benefits upon Mr. X's death. They will check who are other dependents, who also was financially dependent on this person. If the person, or if the people provide proof of financial dependency, they may qualify to receive the death benefit or the pension benefit of that person, of Mr. X in this example. So yeah, it's a process, it's procedure. For those that have just joined, I did not introduce myself when I first started this live. My name is Malebo. I'm also known as the Legal Guru on YouTube. You can go there, please subscribe to my channel, like any video there, and yeah, your support would be greatly appreciated. I'm an attorney by profession, an admitted attorney. Yeah, and the rest, yeah, we will discuss it on my YouTube channel. But yeah, thank you so much for joining this live. If you have any further questions regarding the distribution of the deceased estate, please post them there. Tell them the full video will be, of course, the full video will be available on YouTube. I'll post the full video on YouTube regarding this discussion today too. So this week it's National Wills Week, meaning you can draft your will for free in any participating law firm. Not all law firms are participating for the National Wills Week, so you can check on the LPC website as to which law firms are participating in your area, and then you can get your will drafted for free. I have explained the processes of drafting a will. I've explained the validity of the will and how we go about distribution in an event that a person dies without leaving a will. And yeah, I hope this video was informative. If you have any further questions, any comments, please don't hesitate to post it under the comment section below. I'm not sure if I've left out anything. Yeah, thank you guys, thank you Sagui, thank you everyone that is, I can't see, right, let me see, it says top viewers. Yeah, Sagui, Lady, and who, thank you so much guys for viewing, and I hope the issues of intestate succession is also clarified in this discussion. Yay. Yeah guys, so I'll be posting more and more of this legal talks and legal discussion on my YouTube channel. It's the Legal Guru. Please go and subscribe guys. Yeah, so I'm just here for questions. Ooh, hi guys, let me see, what's this Vasu on YouTube anyway? But yeah guys, I think I'm gonna leave now. If there are no questions or any comments, or yeah, but yeah, I hope I've answered it. What am I forgetting? I'm trying to think, what am I forgetting? Yes, yeah, I think that's just it guys, that's it from me. Have a great night further. We will have another live session, maybe, I don't know, probably next week, probably the other week, I don't know, but yeah, I hope to be doing this lives maybe once a week, wherein we have a legal discussion. But then, as I said, this is not legal advice guys, this is not legal advice. I'm basically just promoting the National Wills Week here, okay? This is not legal advice. Thank you so much for watching. I will have to leave. Bye, guys. Bye. Thank you all. Bye bye. How do I go about ending this? And